Hi everybody, I'm Matt, and welcome back to another episode of People in the Room, a podcast dedicated to discussing Christianity in a casual and approachable way. Our group has changed a bit since last time, so we'll go around and introduce ourselves again, starting with this guy.
Alright, I'm this guy. No, my name is Ian.
Nice.
I graduated college in 2020. I am an accountant.
Hi, I'm Ben. I go to Oakland University, majoring in computer science.
I'm John. I'm the senior pastor here at Scott Lake Baptist Church.
I'm Matt. I am an IT major at Oakland University. That ambiguity did not last long at all.
I'm Paul. I'm the digital outreach pastor here at Scott Lake Baptist Church.
I'm Trent, recently graduated, IT major, history minor.
Sean, culinary arts major, and a chef at Orchard Country Club.
He makes some good food.
Okay, so next week he's bringing the food.
Yeah. Are you going to let your stuff people cater us?
Y'all can't afford me.
Oh, no, too expensive. We were trying to figure out pizza on the way here, but we couldn't figure it out.
I can make some good pizza. Don't get me wrong.
Dude, when I was at his brother's house, I was having mushroom and white wine sauce. I had never had anything so fancy before.
Whoa.
They just throw that stuff on pasta like it's nothing. You guys are living the life down there, dude. My word.
Yeah.
Anyways, real quick, let's recap what we talked about last week. Basically, we just shared some experiences of peer pressure from our personal lives, discussed what peer pressure is, and talked about the various forms it comes in. Now, before we get in, since we got a few new people here as well, we'll do some more icebreakers here, just so you all can get to know us a bit better too. Everyone can just hop in on this one whenever. If everything were possible in the Olympics, which event would you win?
Sleeping.
Gold
medal.
They don't call you.
No, you wouldn't be.
Your nephew does not call you Snorlax for nothing. I know that now. I know that now.
Oh yeah, dude, I get on average at night 12 to 14 hours of sleep.
12 to 14?
Dude.
That's more than half the day.
He spent half of our trip in South Carolina asleep, dude. It was great.
Okay, I submit.
Like a gold medalist.
On the other hand,
14.
I didn't get any sleep because a 7-year-old would smash my door down in my room at 5 a.m. every morning. Ian.
Why?
Get used to it.
Yeah, Ian, why are you smashing his door down?
He's your family.
He's not my kid. He's
Well,
my brother's kid.
yeah, but like, you should have some sort of residual influence. I think you're missing out on that.
Yeah, it's obviously your fault again. We've declared it right here and now. It's too
Anyways,
late.
who else?
It is.
Everything were possible in the Olympics, which event would you win? I genuinely think sleeping was probably a good one.
That was a good one.
I'd probably win the Sudoku tournament.
Sudoku.
Dude, I haven't played
I
Sudoku
too would win
in
the
a minute.
seppuku tournament.
That's not at all what he said.
Seppuku?
Yeah, that's why I said it. Thanks, Matt, for ruining my joke.
On average, how many Sudoku puzzles can you finish in a day?
Well, when my son had his open heart surgery,
Here we go again.
I finished I gotta focus on something. I finished the evil section of the book.
What is
The evil?
section?
The evil?
Yeah, it's like easy, medium, hard, evil.
Oh, really?
Wow, interesting.
You went
Okay.
straight-
I did the entire evil section of the book.
So you're
It's
basically
like, leave me alone, I got my son having open heart surgery.
Jeez.
I don't want to think right now.
You know, that's fair actually. I was like, man, that's kind of weird, but then as soon as you said, I don't want to think right now, I'm like, oh, that makes sense actually, yeah.
I would say confusing people. I confuse people a lot. And I confuse myself as well. So.
You do confuse me sometimes, that is true. You are correct.
I don't know why. Well, there you go. I don't know why. I
don't know
confuse
why.
Now we're all-
myself.
Let's just say this: you just confused me with that answer. I'm trying to figure out how that's how that's an event. But,
We'll see,
no.
and
It's
in
all
that
part
way,
of-
he wins.
Exactly.
It's all part of the scam.
That's how I get you.
You know it. You know it.
Well, I don't know if I'd win a gold medal, but I'd definitely play euchre.
Oh, I was gonna say too.
Euchre?
Let's be in the euchre tournament. Let's do it. It's 2v2. I was thinking it while he was saying Sudoku. I was like,
It's always
teammate.
like,
My brother and I, we go out and play euchre. Sometimes we reach each other's minds, sometimes we don't. But
Yeah, but it's fun though.
it is a good game.
Yeah.
Is it like a...
just started
Very
learning that with
Michigan-based
the
card
suits.
game.
Yeah, yeah.
Our audience that doesn't know,
Yeah.
it's a very Midwestern.
We come up with our own stuff here because we're
Better
creative
than
like
everyone
that.
else.
Yeah,
I
feel
was
like-
gonna say
Whoa,
creative.
whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm creative.
Yeah.
I feel like mentioning euchre gave away
That's
our
why we
location
also
way more than
call
Oakland
everything around here
University
pop and not.
Yeah, because that's,
What-
the right
That's the
that's
right
true.
word. That's the right word.
Actually, I'm against that. It's Coke.
No one
No,
asked
it's
you,
not.
Sean. Something's wrong with you, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I was playing a.
You know, if I asked for a pop
was the
growing
most
up, I got hit.
That was the most aggressive I've ever seen you be.
I was in an argument about this probably a week ago. Sorry about that. But I was in an argument about
No,
this.
it's not, dude.
Yeah.
Stop. Please.
Sorry, Ian, I cut you off. Go ahead, continue.
No, I know. I was just like, I know different Christians have different opinions about card games, but while we're on the topic, I think I was playing a poker game on a flight out to the West Coast a while ago, and I was winning back-to-back games. So I think if there would be an Olympic event for like poker, I think
You're really good at poker.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I thought, isn't that completely luck based though?
I think it's not necessarily.
I really think it's you're
Skill
playing the
blind,
person.
too.
Yeah, you're playing the person. Obviously, your hand
Oh,
is
interesting.
dictated based on. I mean, it depends on where you play. Depends on who the dealer is.
Half the game is psychological.
But half of it is, you're trying to convince the other players around the table. Either you have something that's really good, or you don't.
I mean, I was playing poker in an online the video game wasn't poker's an activity you can do, and I was playing online. So I was playing against these other people. I ended up being like the richest guy at that table because everyone would join. I'd take all their money and then they'd leave. So I'm not sure if they really knew how to play poker or they kind of got the gist, but I know how to play poker, and so...
See, I don't know if it's as much knowing how to play poker as it was the fact that you had a revolver under the table. So, I'm not entirely sure.
That does help.
Well, I mean, he could be really good at bluffing too. I mean,
that's true.
You could be pretty good at
because
blasting, too.
And that's
When you have
the
a
skill
gun in
base.
your hand, you
That's
can
the
bluff pretty
skill
hard.
base.
well, it's
They
true.
don't call it the 100% discount for nothing.
I think poker, like any game, it's luck based and then skill based.
Exactly.
All the luck base is in the cards. All the skill is playing the people.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really
Exactly,
just cards
it's
and
based.
people.
Yeah,
You know-
if you know how to read a person, you can really tell if they're bluffing or not. And then if you I was watching a movie, and the whole movie revolves around this big poker game that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And this guy spends literally the whole game losing all his money, but he's reading everybody and what they're doing as they're bluffing and stuff. And then when he's down to his last dollar, he takes everybody's money because
Dang.
while he was losing all his money playing every hand, he was picking up the cues that everyone does when they bluff or when they have a good hand.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a bit too much. Okay. And then we'll move on to the next one. Tell us the most boring fact about yourself. Specifically, really boring. Make sure that I fall asleep while listening to this. I'm looking up my boring fact right now.
I used to watch hours of computer science videos.
Why do you torture yourself?
Because he thinks it's fascinating.
No, I would bore myself too. I would try.
Okay, now
I'm trying to learn,
That's psycho.
and then I would just bore myself, and I just sit there and almost fall
Are
asleep.
you talking
trick
about
to
actual
graduating computer
college
science is
lectures,
switch
or are you
to
just talking
IT.
about random videos?
Some college lectures, some just random videos.
Okay.
And I would really try to learn computer science, and I would just...
See, that's your first mistake. You don't try to learn everything in the
Yes.
field, you just pick up from somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
Correct.
I've learned if you don't copy your entire, not only your code, but also your entire knowledge from other people, you're not doing IT right.
Stack Overflow
Yeah.
exists for a reason.
So-
Exactly.
So I
So,
don't have to learn
Matt,
the code.
when you ask what is the most boring thing about yourself, would a better way of phrasing it be describe
Something that no one will
something
care
that you're fascinated in that nobody else is?
I would
That's a
say
good
so,
one
yeah.
right there.
That's
Yeah.
probably a good way to interpret
Oh,
it.
it's me. It's golf, 100%.
Well, what about?
I like golf.
Yeah.
Well-
a lot of people like golf.
Well, yeah, but nobody cares though. You may like it, but you don't care about
but
it.
we don't care about you specifically and everything you love.
Yeah, well, add that to the list.
It's kind of rough.
There's a reason this guy hasn't joined our friend group for a while.
It's not that I've been halfway across the country.
Definitely not. No.
I will
not.
say the most boring.
He is single. He is single, by the way.
I will say the most boring thing about myself because we just got done. I say we. Professional golf just got done playing their second biggest major of the year, and I can sit and watch professional golfer play 6 hours of golf 4 days in a row.
You and my dad would get
Wow.
along
So
great.
that's 24 hours of golf.
Yeah.
And I'm edge of my seat when everyone else is just kind of
Okay.
snoozing.
That's not, yeah. My dad's a dude that will turn it on, watch intently for about 30 seconds,
I'm on the
and
edge
then
of my
immediately whip out his tablet and just start doing stuff on there instead.
So that's probably the most boring thing. But
That okay.
I find it
I gotta admit, that's boring.
Yeah.
it's my thing. So I'm
All
rolling
right.
with it.
Like,
I've got one.
Alright.
All right, so I like cryptocurrency and finance, so I watch a lot of different videos about all that kind of stuff. And my wife will get after me because she'll say, nobody cares about all that stuff that you're trying to tell them.
Buy Dogecoin.
What? Oh, what? Huh? I didn't hear you. And so, but anyways, though, it's like POW, POS, and you try to explain stuff to people and different types of stuff and different algorithms and all different kinds of stuff, and people look at you like, yeah. So, to me, it's interesting. To other people, they just don't relate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either that or I relate and they can't relate, or I'm not sure. But anyway, it's boring to a lot of people.
I will say, to your credit, I've never had my eyes glaze over so fast before.
I have to say possible. Just always picture myself in some sort of like zombie apocalypse because I'm a big fan of like zombie TV shows, zombie video games. Like I'll go on a walk and I'll be like, man, if I was in an apocalypse setting here, man,
That'd be such a cool fort.
This would be a really safe place to be, and like right by the supermarket, so you can scavenge for food and stuff. And then there's a city over here. And I can just go on and on about like how the military wouldn't round me up and kill me. You know, it's just like
because you'd make it.
Yeah. I would get outrun by the horde of zombies in the first few days. I wouldn't be killed by a raider. I'd just be the one survivor. I'd be the Rick Grimes.
You'd
of
run
the
faster.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I can't run.
You'd outsmart them somehow.
Hopefully they're the walking zombies.
No, knowing my luck, I'd be stuck in a World War Z where the zombies sprint at you full speed, and it's not gonna be Walking Dead where they walk everywhere.
I've been bored at work at my first job more than once, and I have a whole plan of if the apocalypse happens. I'm going right there, I have like a 2-hour plan of turning that place into a fortress. Because that's a hardware store.
Let me demonstrate my
nail guns
boring
and stuff.
future. When you're talking about apocalypse,
Yeah.
I'm thinking apocalypse is great. You know what apocalypse means?
The end, right?
The end fighting. It's the revelation. That's the word apocalypse of Jesus. When Jesus shows up, that's the apocalypse. I'm saying bring it on. That'd be great.
I just
I'm
would
not
like
going to be there to watch all the fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I'm going to be watching from the, shall we say, elevated venue.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, preferably without any zombies. I'm like, wait, I'm not going to be here. Who cares?
Exactly.
I mean,
Why should I care?
But like, I'll get like, I will like. One of my favorite video games of all time is The Last of Us. It's basically the cordyceps fungus is a basically they made a whole TV show.
Oh, we're going into
mushroom zombie.
We're going
Basically-
into fictional zombie anatomy here on a
Yes,
Christian
Basically,
podcast.
Yes.
it's about a fungus that takes over the host brain, and then I'll go talk to my mom, and I'll try to explain the difference between a zombie and then this thing that is zombie, but it's not because the person's still alive because the mushroom is a living host, and then how it's different from a zombie.
Yeah,
but-
that is Mom, they're not the same.
Yeah, and my mom would just be like, "That's great, son. That's great."
It's not a phase, Mom.
But it's really cool.
But like someone who's interested will actually pay attention, but no one pays
one's
attention.
interested.
And I've ranted about this to a lot of people. So
I think Sean wins the boring.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, do I even do mine right now? I don't
I
know.
could take this.
I was kind of curious.
when you get me and him on a Star Wars binge, Matt just clocks out.
Yeah, no.
That loses.
Every time, like, they boot up, like, the Clone Wars or something like that, I'll
Yeah.
watch for a bit and be like, yeah, this show's okay. And they're like, okay.
How dare
Just
you?
okay.
This is my childhood. I live my life based on this.
I
Okay.
learned more in Clone Wars than I did in most of school.
That's just sad. Okay, for my boring fact, not nearly as interesting, but if y'all have heard of the video game Mario Kart,
Of course.
anyone watching?
Oh
I'm
no.
Oh,
I have spent quite a bit of time speedrunning it, and my boring fact here, which way there you go, is I hold a 215th spot. 215th spot in the entire world for
Magnifico!
fastest time for 16 nitro tracks.
It's a
World
floss.
record. So I'm
215
215th in the world. Yeah.
Now, where were you at?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, have you been
Matt, are you
215 for a
single?
while, or are you just?
I used to be at I used to be 203rd.
Whoa.
I've dropped a bit since then. I haven't made it to the 190s
You
yet.
really
but,
let
like, I gotta
Lego
be
Man
grinding for it.
6000 take away your.
I'm sorry, man. And Donut DS too. I mean, what am I doing, man?
So, I mean,
I
that's
fell off.
not gonna lie.
That's
That's
so
really
Are you
If-
single?
If you ain't first,
I am.
you're last.
He's also single, ladies.
He's I mean, that's.
And he's also IT,
So
so...
I'm
That's
gonna
true,
say,
yeah.
man, that's
Yep.
one of the most
So
boring
we make
things I've ever
lots
seen.
of money.
But I
mean,
respect the
that is-
hustle. I respect the grind.
Bro, that got me the most like views on Twitch I've ever had. So like, just saying, man.
And I'm also not playing. I'm not challenging you to any Mario Kart races anytime soon.
I mean, that is true.
But that's peer pressure right there, I think. Kinda, sorta.
What?
Isn't it?
Great transition.
Is it really?
I don't know if it was
wow,
a great
I think
transition,
so.
but
Well, we have like
What?
another one after.
Holy
this.
segue, Batman.
But, like,
holy segue, Batman.
Okay.
Here's
They
a
all
hand
women
pitch for
during
you.
the transition.
That's true. Like, you were prepped well. The problem was I just came in with like
Problem
a really
is the script demands
crummy
otherwise.
script. Yeah.
Oh yeah, going back to the script.
Ah, never mind.
So what's the unless anyone else has any boring facts? Like, sure, I noticed Trent hasn't said
Dude,
anything.
I'm already bored.
Oh, I have
I'm
plenty.
sorry.
I can top
Shut-
Sean if I want to.
I
Well, I
just
mean, that's
don't
true.
think you
Listen to
guys want me
Sean
to top
snooze
Sean.
fest over
I
there.
have
But
no
okay,
pulse.
what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever decided to start doing, and why?
Talking to you.
Well, hey, fair enough, man.
No, that's a joke. That's a joke.
I no. How did we even start talking? Wasn't it just like we got bored in high school band or something like that, and we're just like, yeah, you're next to me.
I think so. Yeah, because you were trumpets, I was saxophones, and we were next to each other.
I was for some reason
that might have
first
been the
trumpet.
same reason I started talking to you as well.
I think, dude, high school band was forming some friendships
So-
even though, because nobody cared.
and no one
It was
wanted
incredible.
To be there.
That was also peer pressure too, because you had to talk to somebody and.
Oh, you weren't supposed to be talking.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, no.
That's true.
When I'm on the podium, 3 things happen. Noise stops, talking stops, and eyes on me.
Oh.
That was our band director.
Or as
Yeah.
they say, talking starts, noise starts, eyes off me.
Yeah, I mean, because he would, after saying that, immediately laser focus in on like 2 people at the very edge of the room, and it's like, well, okay, what do we do for 30
Matt, I
minutes?
think this is a good time to apologize. The saxophones would purposely blast our instruments, and we'd get the trumpets in trouble
Yeah,
because he'd think it was you guys.
because we were the whipping boys.
Well, hey, whatever. You know, I would care, but
After
it's
half the
far too late for
percussion
that.
section graduated,
Anyways,
we were the whipping
More
boys.
spontaneous
now.
things. These guys are talking about too much.
Okay, I could bring it all together. Spontaneous, I bought a piano, and that's music too.
Wait, an actual like
Oh,
piano
wow.
or keyboard?
Keyboard.
Okay.
Okay, I was about to say, like,
like
a
a
grand
Steinway?
piano.
No,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
bought like a cheap keyboard off
Okay.
Amazon.
Okay, yeah, I thought bro was buying like a Kawhi or something like that, dude.
And then peer pressure, nobody pressured me. So I guess I introduced it there, but
Well, we did discuss
Nobody
that peer
pressured me,
pressure
I
was
did
that
that
could
just
actually be from
spontaneously.
yourself. But
Yeah,
I believe we came to a
the
discovery.
voices
that
in
it
my
was
head pressure me deeply.
not. See, that's just called being insane.
that is
Needing to be
just
locked away.
insanity.
But yeah.
I'll say the most spontaneous thing I ever did was last summer going to a live event in Detroit with my brother. Just out of the blue, random. He asked me like the night before. Tickets were pretty expensive, but I figured why not? It's gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot of people there. Made a lifetime memory. It's great.
Yeah, honestly, it's been very interesting to me. Like, I used to have a big problem with like needing to have stuff planned out for a while in order for me to go. But like, I'll be honest, like you guys like have really helped me out in like just doing stuff spontaneously. Like again, when we went down to see your graduation, Trent, like that was literally
that was kind of spontaneous.
me. Just I asked you on Discord, and then you were like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And I'm like, "Okay, Sean, you want to go?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then we just went like
Yeah.
a few weeks later.
No worry, nothing to plan out, nothing
No,
to just let's just do it now.
Yeah, it was like a week vacation, and it was one of the best weeks of my life too. Like, it was
Or
pretty
just
awesome.
like staying an extra day because my
Yeah.
brother's house is awesome.
We were just able to stay another day.
Yeah,
too.
and then
It was
you'll
pretty
you'll
awesome.
figure out if like maybe you're late for work the next day or whatever. Like you'll
Oh,
figure it out. Like
Dude, I just called off.
yeah, see there you go. You just gotta start doing it. You know.
Yeah, just start calling off work, guys. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
See, the nice part is that I've known my boss for years, and I don't really have that important of a job anyways, so it doesn't matter.
The other nice part is we are not liable in any way, shape, or form for termination of employment.
That's also true.
Trent covering our legal basis here. All right.
So when you get fired, it's not our fault.
I'm gonna start.
Make
the
sure you
talk
make
on,
wise decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start-
Don't
Well,
give in to
I was gonna
this
say
peer
a random
pressure
thing
here.
here myself.
Yeah,
Go
don't
for
give
it.
in to
Ah.
this peer pressure.
Good transition.
Another good transition here. Now it's
What
on
a
Paul to
segue.
get the transition again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, back when I was around these guys' age, I just was the next. I had a breakup or whatever it was, whatever you call it, and so the next day I started a Christian rock, rap, and country hip hop band, and there you go.
I want to ask you, do you like have an album lying around or something?
I do back in the day. I don't have it
Back in
here.
the-
so
Do you have like it on SoundCloud or something?
it's on my Apple, but I don't know how to actually get to it.
Find it. We're blasting it at some point.
We got
have
it.
to.
It's gotta be
We
like
have
the
to.
intro music.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. We could ditch the generic music for Smash It Light and stuff like that. Yeah. I found out that my boss.
I wrote
who,
it as well too,
That's
so
pretty cool.
it'd be-
I
yeah, so we could actually do that. Play.
I had I washed windows for my job last summer, so I'm doing a bit better now. But my boss there at that job apparently sang like country music and stuff like that at one point, and it was every bit as bad as you think it is. And so every time we were in the van together, I would just find his SoundCloud account again, crank the speakers up to max, and just blast his own music until he's like covering his ears while he's driving. It's pretty great. Anyway,
oh, this is your music.
You know, one hand on one ear, one hand on the other ear, one hand on the wheel.
No, yeah,
This
he's
is
got his
really
foot on the
good.
wheel, you know, dude? Like as you do. Anyways, on the theme of starting things, which has nothing to do with what I was just talking about, our main aspect of peer pressure we'll be looking at today is where it starts. Okay. But, oh great, yeah, okay, I immediately contradict myself here. But before we dive into how peer pressure starts,
But that's not all.
a good way to begin this discussion is to first define what a peer even is. I can't believe we forgot to do this in the first episode.
Blame this man.
We didn't mention it.
That is true.
But,
Paul-
we didn't
For
have time
Paul's-
to go back to it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
Paul-
wanted to make
Paul
sure
did
we got
mention
the. I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that we got the
Yeah.
important part
Exactly.
Do
covered.
you
He took
want
care of
like
it.
Webster's dictionary definition of what a peer is?
No, I want us
No.
to talk about what a peer is so that people can see what our
Because
views
they
line up
can
with
they
our
can read
aspect of it.
themselves.
Yeah,
we-
they can do
They
that.
can't read into our
Intelligent
mind.
people,
Do you-
because
do
they're
you-
watching our
Do you
thing.
seem to think our viewers can't perform a simple Google search?
So therefore,
See,
we
I've
need
met
to-
some
You think
people.
that little of them?
Yeah, Sean.
Sean.
Shame.
Sean.
That's unfortunate.
I asked a generic question. I didn't suggest anything.
Sean!
Sean.
How dare you!
How dare you?
Anyways, what is a
Brett
peer?
Thunberg, it's nice to meet you.
School
right now.
I think a peer is a little bit is not as close as a friend, but it's something you could be a friend, but you're not a friend. A friend is different.
Between an acquaintance and a friend.
Yeah.
you're saying. I could see that as like a middle ground. Yeah, like
I
people
think
you
a peer is someone who's close enough
Yeah,
where
I'm
you like care what they think of you.
who you
You know?
care that they do.
Because if you're being
Okay.
pressured by them,
That
of
means
course
that
you care about what they think and
Because like there are
Yeah.
people. Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
there are people that are like either way younger than me or way older than me.
Mm.
I wouldn't consider them my peers because if they approve or disapprove of something I do, it doesn't really affect how I feel. Versus like if I do something and it's someone who's vaguely similar to me in some form, I'd consider
Yeah.
them more my peer.
I mean, that is
That
true.
makes
There's it's like there's that weird anxiety when you go past like a group of kids that are like slightly younger than you, like a grocery store or something like that. But if you walk past this similar group of just a bunch of old people, you could care less.
yeah.
Something like that, where it's like, oh, do they think I'm cool? And it's like, well, wait, why does that
So
even matter?
would it be like someone who's kind of I don't want to say similar to you?
Well, maybe it is.
Well, I mean,
For
for
the
me,
most part.
that's what I would consider my peer. Is someone who's
Yeah.
kind of similar to where I'm at in life. You know,
Yeah, I
kinda
mean,
like mid-20s.
I'd say a peer is more or less someone in your like standing almost. Like in a court of law that they use a jury of your peers.
it's true.
You don't get Bill Gates on your jury. He doesn't do jury duty. He's
Wait,
Bill
you
Gates. But you'll get
I mean-
some other guy, middle class, or like just some random Joe. Maybe he's a warehouse attendee to do that. So like a peer, I'd say is like you don't have to know them, but you do feel like you need to.
Have a good impression.
Do you
or
mean like
something.
financial
They're,
status?
like, in the same
maybe
background,
if you make
too.
Maybe not,
80,000
maybe not
and they make
financial, but like
80,000
someone
or-
in your same standing. So like we definitely have the like we have the social, like you have the really wealthy, you have the
Right.
middle class, you have the lower class, and then you have the like the very bottom people struggling, the homeless stuff. But it's like you can't relate to any like me personally grew up pretty lower middle class. I can't relate with people people I serve at a country club, especially out in West Bloomfield. I drive by these beautiful houses, but I can't relate to anything they do, or I guess I feel uncomfortable in a huge setting of those people just because I can't relate to anything they've done. Like I didn't grow up at a country club.
But see, I would challenge you on that because if you removed income, removed your social hierarchy, whatever, if you were in a room, like if you were in a room with a guy my age, right, but you didn't know that this guy comes from a very well-off family and you
And
know,
he's not a country club member.
right, he's not a country club member, whatever.
Like he might be, but you don't know it.
Right, if you don't know that, But there would be some part of you that feels like you want to get to know this. It's like we're social creatures, right? We want to know, like, you know,
it doesn't matter about the person. You still feel the pressure.
Right, and you want to impress them, or you want to put your best foot forward when you're with them, right?
Because you don't want people looking at you like going like.
Your peers then are anybody you feel you want to fit in with.
I think that's a good definition.
That fits in well with peer pressure, anyways. Yeah, because it's the desire to fit in.
I'm thinking there's a kind of an unwritten category of generation in the church. There's generation gap. You know, the older people and the younger people, they don't seem to get along. They don't seem eye to eye. I think it would be extremely beneficial if the church could bridge that gap, right? And you have.
It would be work though.
It would be hard,
Yeah.
but that I think it's peer pressure. I mean, I can recall two churches that are both Baptists, and they won't talk to each other over the issue of music, and I think that's peer pressure. I think if
because some ages like certain kind of music, and I'm kind of more so the loud music and all different kinds of stuff, and there's people who like hymns or softer music.
If you want to fit in with the crowd that likes the loud music,
right,
and someone else wants to fit in with the the gentle hymns or something,
right.
So, what seems to happen, at least in my experience, what seems to happen is a preacher will learn from their professor some philosophy of, say, music or whatever that might happen in ministry. Then they try to implement that in the ministry where they minister. But then it kicks into their brain somewhere, I got to show up better than the rest of my class. So I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to get real strict on it.
Like the Pharaoh.
And I'm going to start calling those people of the devil that listen to other music. I had a pastor in town say that I was listening, or that music I was playing was of the devil. I don't think, I'll tell you, it was Steve Green.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him, sorry.
Yeah.
Steve Green is
one of those guys that just kind of sings hymns, basically, like just with a bit of like more modern instruments for the most part. Like,
I would say, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty gentle. I mean, he's, come on, of the devil, seriously?
And he's singing hymns?
It came out in like the last 30 years, though. So
I guess you're talking to an old-fashioned Protestant.
That's the point. I think if it comes out new, then the people that have the peer pressure to push it toward the older hymns want to outdo each other and become more strict on it, and that just creates division. It's peer pressure.
Yeah,
but then I was gonna say, but then the same way, Matt, too. If people who are on the other side of it, they want to keep pushing further and say, well, they don't like us. Let's push further so they don't even like us even more, or something too.
Yeah. There's that spike.
You get in your camp, and you got to be the hero of your camp.
I never actually really thought about it as the other side having peer pressure as well. Right? I just kind of miss it.
The people that peer pressure you, they're also getting peer pressure too. So.
By each other to act that way towards you, and then as a result, it's just an ongoing cycle that just kind of gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
I do remember though something interesting. Like I was talking to you about it, like at first when it was when we were talking about like how some of those old hymns got made and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of those actually I found out got made by taking popular music at the time, like modern, quote unquote, because it was like the 1700s or whatever, music that was popular then, and throwing a bunch of Christian lyrics onto it and re-releasing it as a Christian hymn. I can't imagine many people were fans of that back in the day either. But all of a sudden, now that 300 years have gone by, it's just okay. I mean, I feel like people would need to be able to challenge that a bit more than...
They hate it.
I think one thing I feel challenged with right now is, like, why do I hold... Like, asking myself the question about values, and it could be anything. Like, why do I believe what I believe? Is it because, or, like, where did this conviction come from? Did it come from other people and my desire to fit in with those people? Did someone else influence that? Whatever it is, music, entertainment, like whatever you name it. Like, do I like that because there's something objective about it that I enjoy, or is it because so and so likes it and I want to fit in with so and so, or
well, it could be something else too, though. I mean, it could be all of our brains are wired differently, and just because we have different tastes and stuff, somebody might like my daughter, for instance. She likes Japanese metal-y type music, and there's a couple of the songs I'll listen to that I actually like. You know what I'm saying? Like, and but some of it I'm like, turn that stuff down. You know what I'm saying? It's hurting
I can't take it.
It's hurting my it's over and over and over. I'm like, okay, I'm done. But however, there's some songs I suppose I could listen to, but I think everybody's brain is wired different. Like, you don't like what I will like, and I won't like what he likes, and same for us.
When I babysit my grandkids, it's Baby Shark.
Oh my
God. Now everyone's thinking.
Hey, don't worry. Everybody in this room feels your pain on this one. This is the one thing we can all agree on.
In like Guantanamo Bay, that's what they do with terrorists. They just have Baby Shark on loop for like
when my kids were younger, it was Barney. Just Barney over and over and over. Yeah. Barney. And, sometimes VeggieTales a little bit, but Barney mostly.
I don't understand how kids like some of those shows, like Barney or like Teletubbies or something like that.
This
always weirded me out as a kid.
7, 8?
I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah,
it's like the bus ride back from junior camp. Everyone's doing the cheers at the other end of camp, and then I'm the oldest one on the bus. I'm in the back, like all of the younger kids in the front. There's like 4 people my age that went. We're all in the back sleeping, but we can't sleep because we're hearing the red team going and then the blue team going, and they're doing it as loud as they can. And I'm like, I want to sleep. I just got.
Oh my gosh, man. Wait until you guys are 16 and you've seen some stuff. Anyways, I do want to say...
I wanted to say, bounce off of something that Ian said. If there's something subtle you pick up in the group that you want to fit in with, it's easy to just not even question it. It's just you go along with the flow. Group think, is just a thing that really does happen. And I think it's partly because we're social creatures. We want to have a group we fit in with. Jesus warned about the dangers of groupthink. If you go through the broad gate, down the broad path, it can just march along to destruction. But if you're using your best thinking and you want to take control of your choices and have your values that are according to your best thinking, make the individual choice. If it doesn't go along with the group, maybe you're right, and maybe the group is wrong.
That's really tough, though. One versus however, like 100 or 100, but let's say 10 people pressuring you, even 2 people, like one against many.
Right.
That's really tough to fight.
There is a I was going to say, this is kind of, at the church was invited to an atheist group on a social media platform. I'm going to be vague so that way we don't get attacked. But however, maybe we'll eventually advertise there. Who knows? But, right?
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, so, who knows? But it was like, there is like one of me, and there is, we'll just say, somewhere between 10 and 20,000 of them. And so the thing is they will spew a bunch of things, and I will make a couple comments of why what they're thinking is wrong. And then they won't be able to really answer me. They will make fun of me and put a whole bunch of laughs there.
Yeah, and they're all with each other against you.
As a whole entire group.
And they don't really your echo chamber to hit you repeatedly for their entertainment.
Exactly, but they don't have anything.
And they have to outdo each other, teasing you, so that they fit in better.
Yes.
True. And they haven't said anything that just proves what I just said.
Correct.
And how I disproved what they said, and because it was a different viewpoint. And so that's kind of what I'm saying. You have to be careful because you don't want to get tied up in the...
And I mean, honestly, just off topic, something I've noticed is there's never a more surefire way to tell if you're in the right or not by how people respond. If they respond with actual facts and like sources and stuff, you know you're wrong. If they respond by going ad hominem and attacking you, they're wrong.
Yeah, and I would say this, like, it's not necessarily about going just to be against the grain, right? Like the one against the, like, you want to stand, like, what is, we're a Christian podcast, like, the objective truth, we agreed, is the Word of God, right? If it's written in the Bible, we stand by what that says. And so it's not necessarily going against the grain, just to be against the grain, or to be the, one against the world. It's
just
really,
to be the rebel or something.
I'm standing on behalf of truth.
Adding what you're saying, this is really important, especially with that atheist group. Just because the Bible says it, you know how the one prophet, that was a prophet, but one of the disciples, he was saying, hey, do you understand, I know Pastor John's going to help me on this, do you understand what you're reading? And he says, no, unless I have somebody to teach me what I'm reading. And it's in the Bible. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
My brain just was on like...
Was that Philip that was saying that?
Yes, it was Philip. Yeah, and so... But the thing, though, is they're using the Bible because in a different way because they don't understand it because it's never been explained to them properly.
And so they need other people to explain it to them, but the Word of God is in the Word, it's in the book, so you got to read it yourself.
Well, yeah, there is a reason there's a call for evangelism, though, is to be the person that gets them interested in reading.
Yeah, exactly. When you're looking at something from this perspective, you're only going to see things from this perspective.
Exactly.
That's true.
If you look at it from this perspective, suddenly it looks so different.
Yeah, right.
But when you're only ever going to look here because you want this to be what's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It is a willing decision.
You can lead your flock to water, but at the end of the day, you can't really make them drink.
And if you're only looking at this decision, you might not even be leading them to water.
Yeah.
Just completely off, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you're explaining to what does this actually mean or why is this the way it is, and they have nothing but ha ha ha, it's a different point of view.
When you are an outspoken Christian, you're obvious a Christian, people will tend to think in their own preconceptions, because of the group, that's the guy not to listen to.
Yep.
Right? That's the guy not to listen to because he's just going to go on. He's going to try and convince me. He's going to try and convert me. And I think the peer pressure as a topic is a really good thing to really delve into. We want to be approachable. Thankfully, the word that is our objective basis for our beliefs is a powerful thing. And you can stand on it unashamedly. Paul says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel. And it is the power of God for salvation. So for the Christian, wanting to fit in with the skeptic group, that's a good challenge, I think, for Christians to not be conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind,
so that you may know what is the.
Yep.
I've had that problem where, you want to connect with people and connect with people as deeply as you can, so you conform to them a little bit. But the issue with that, I forget what verse it was, but it's like you invite demons into your house, and once you leave your house, when you leave your house, then demons are invited in, and then once you have demons invited in, they'll invite more demons and more demons. So
I think you're referring to where Jesus cast out a demon and he said this.
We are legion.
No, it's how did he say it? When you are freed from this demon, 7 more come in. Okay, I pulled something out of the hat. You don't have a reference for it. It's there. Someone Google it. We'll find the reference.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have all the verses pulled up. I try to, but you got to send me.
We got to help you get those verses.
Yeah, you got to send me your list again.
I really like that. What Ben said.
No, but when you my friend told me that one. It stuck with me. Where your house, everybody understands what your house is. It's where you live. It's your home. It's where you defend. People have security systems. People don't like inviting people in your house. Or maybe it's your room against your mother or your family. My room is my house. I want anything to do with my family. But the house is the idea. If you leave your house, leave your heart where your home is, then that invites demons and evil in. And so that's why you need to be you're rooted in your home.
If you conform to the world, you mean?
Yeah.
If you conform to the world, then you're opening yourself up for trouble.
Correct, yeah. Opening yourself up, you have to open yourself up to God,
Yeah.
But it's hard. People don't understand what that is. I don't understand what that is fully. You know, that's why I confuse myself.
I think it's true. You got people you want to win to the Lord. And they're way different than you because you're grounded in the Lord and your relationship with Him. What I think the good thing about what you said, where you want to connect deeply, you will want to, in some ways, like to win the Jew, be the Jew, that Paul was saying. But I think where we go wrong is in approaching that group with judgment rather than with listening. So I think the listening to people that are different actually is a way to connect. Jesus, I think he had a good time eating and drinking with the tax collectors and sinners. And of course the Pharisees looked at him like, why are you with those people? Well, because those people, they need me too.
The well don't need a physician.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I got it right here. Boom. Yeah, let's go. Verse 30 said to them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners."
Yeah, just a real world application of what you're saying. Is like, I have a group of coworkers that I play golf with regularly. I made it known early that I personally don't drink. I think it goes beyond just being a Christian. It's kind of a matter of personal choice for me. But I made it clear to them that, like, my issue is not with them choosing to partake. Just understand, this is the stance that I've taken, and this is where I'm coming from. And they, ever since day one, have respected that, and they know, hey, it's because he's a Christian, and it's really opened the door for me elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Versus if I caved into the peer pressure and said, all right, hey, I'm going to violate my conscience, violate my morals.
And then that's your testimony gone.
There goes my testimony.
Because if you want to bring up something later, but you drank there, didn't you?
Yeah,
I thought you were like us.
Yeah, and if my conscience, if I'm okay with going against my conscience in one area, then what's stopping me from going against it in other areas? And I think that's just kind of a real world application.
You could probably find some peer pressure from Christians saying, well, you shouldn't even hang out with them if they're drinking.
But Jesus hung out with tax collectors and sinners.
Whoa. There we go.
Yep.
And
I'm a barbershop singer, and we go out after rehearsal to one of the establishments, and most of them are drinking responsibly, nothing to be alarmed about. Absolutely fine with me if they want to make that choice. And I always have my Diet Coke.
With no ice.
No ice.
Yep. I have done the exact same things. When I was a server at a restaurant, and like Valentine's Day, we just got a bunch of reservations. We all made good money. We all went out to a bar that's really close by. It's open late. We could all, just so we could all relax after a hard shift, talk. Everyone else, they're getting their choice drink. Myself, I had a Coke at the counter, but I still had a good time.
When you say a Coke, you actually mean Coca-Cola?
Yes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Cocaine?
No, I would have a Coca-Cola.
You see, everyone else was doing drinking and stuff like that. No, I was just doing hard lines.
But I just did not drink alcohol, and they all knew my stance where it was.
Absolutely no looking down on those singers that I go out with, after our rehearssers.
Yeah, and see, for me, I don't
feel
think
there's a big disconnect between, like, Christians and non-Christians of just, like, we're all people. We all do inherently respect each other, and yet there's some sort of caricatures that are going on in the back of both groups'
and
heads.
just to be clear, I'm not, like, drawing a line here. Like, I have brothers in Christ that drink.
Sure.
Like, just 100%. And for me, it's interesting that we all used that as the example. I think that's
I
kind of a gateway to a lot of other.
I understand.
A lot of other.
I think of the example the other way because I've been pressured by Christians not to do that with those guys. I'm like, no, I'm going to hang out with them.
Jesus drank wine to celebrate.
I think he turned some water into wine once too.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
This is going to open up a can.
It's another thing. That's why it's also confusing to me and other people. Like, you hear Christians and people say, "Oh, you shouldn't drink," and then you see the people that they're worshiping drinking. It's like, why would I follow you in your religion? And it's confusing to me.
But it goes back to something that I was saying last week, where I was mentioning like me being a kid and stuff, being told at some point, eventually, completely different things were actually in the Bible. And it's a thing where I was comparing it to like the Pharisees at one hand, where, granted, I believe was more done out of love, where people were initially like, okay, if we obviously don't want you to do what the Bible clearly says is a sin. So if you don't do this as well, there's no chance you'll do this. But then as time goes on, the safeguard becomes the sin, and then another safeguard's put up, and then it just keeps creeping in closer and closer. And that's why my mind was blown when I realized that nowhere in the entire Bible did it say that drinking was actually a sin.
Yeah, and
they said
that's what I'm trying to be
being
careful.
drunk is a sin.
Yep.
There's a difference between the two.
Where is the line
Yeah.
that a Christian can say? I think it's pretty hard. I think responsible choices.
0.07%. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
illegal,
you possess your vessel in sanctification and honor. So you make your best choice for you based on your best thinking, and it's not my business how you apply that.
Yeah, I mean, once I knew that the Bible had said getting drunk specifically is a sin, flat out, but drinking itself is not, I understood the
caution.
The position of a lot of people take where they're like, well, okay, just don't drink at all, and then you won't even have to worry about it. However,
it's okay for them to say that if they want. If they want it for themselves, not drink.
But don't condemn someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
for exercising their
that's the
liberty.
thing.
And I might think, if you're social drinking, I might think, ooh, he inched over that line, because if I was in his shoes, I'd be back here. Come on, man, you got to get this right. That's drunk, So where's drunk? Where's the line?
Yeah.
And you're going to define it, hopefully based on your best thinking, where you can go, and maybe there's a relaxing feeling that you get when you're social.
And the law may help too on that, because we have to
if you have
follow the laws.
whatever it is,
that is
0.08
another-
and you're driving,
right,
that's really a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's universally a crime.
Yeah, and I mean, for good reason, too,
Do our
Yeah.
legal thing right there again.
We are not
we're-
liable for anything you may
Okay,
choose to
Trent,
do.
we are literally saying that it is common sense why we have laws against it. Why are you?
I was
Why
just
would you in
asking-
any
just
sense say
clarifying.
we're advocating
We're just
for this?
saying.
We're making sure that is crystal clear.
Can't afford a
It's just
podcast
everybody-
attorney, so-
Whatever
Yeah,
the
we
issue
do very
is,
low budget stuff, dude.
He's in
Like,
the suit.
don't even
It's
like.
alright.
Yeah,
That's why he's dressed up.
You're an unofficial lawyer.
yeah.
whatever the issue
I'm
is,
theoretically an attorney at law.
That's true.
I mean, overall,
That's why he's wearing the suit.
A theoretical degree in law.
Yeah.
Indeed.
whatever the
History,
issue
too.
is,
Minor.
it was for freedom that Christ set us free. In other words, he wants us to be free, not bound to the group ideal, but free to make our choices based on our best thinking because we love him. And if you just surrender to the group and you do it out of fear of man, you might make some good choices. I'm not going to drink because these guys will think I'm a drunkard. But that's not really the same as I want to use my money, my testimony, I want to use my life and my opportunities to have relationships to advance the kingdom. And I see alcohol hindering that because someone might see me and the weaker brother stumbles, or someone might see me and think, well, there's the reason not to listen to that pastor, right?
Yeah,
So-
actually, yeah. Doesn't it say that pastors are like held to a higher standard anyway?
Oh,
It's not like
yes.
normal people. Yeah, not normal people, but like
No,
I mean, the people.
It
that,
doesn't say that. What it says is, if you teach, you are held to a stricter judgment. Why is that? So this is wrong for you, and this is wrong for me. I'm the one that's supposed to be a teacher.
You're setting the
Therefore,
example.
my making the same choice as you, which are both wrong for both of us, I'm in a little bigger trouble. But that doesn't mean that I have a higher standard. It's like you can drink one beer, I can't even drink one beer. I have to drink like a sip, and that's all I get because I'm a pastor. It's not a higher standard. The standard's the same for everybody. The judgment is stricter for the teacher.
Okay. Yeah.
Something to think about. So now, remember when Jesus turned the water into wine that we were talking about a moment ago over there?
Yeah.
Now, I want everybody to think about this. So how did the people that said, hey, how did you save the better stuff for later instead of giving it right away? So were they drunk when they said that, or were they not drunk when they said that?
I don't know. I feel like
the way it says it, Paul, the way that they say it is, everybody gives the good stuff first.
Exactly.
Then, when their standards are lowered by the fact that they're getting a little bit affected by the good stuff, they won't really care if you give them the bad stuff.
Right. But
Right.
they knew, though, that it was...
The good stuff that Jesus gave, in other words, did have alcohol.
Right. So the
I think
question
I might have
is...
accidentally found a great next podcast topic.
Yeah, honestly, I think.
I was like, we got peer pressure. We're just throwing that line way out there further.
Peer pressure. We'll just have like a
my
bunch of
inner
different
Baptist
brands up
is
here
saying
next
all
time.
these liquor references. It's like this podcast is now swimming in liquor.
I cannot.
I have, you know what? This is a peer pressure thing. When I was in college, before I was a Christian, I had drinking buddies, and we got pretty plowed at times. And it was kind of like a hero thing. Be a hero at drinking. Come on, drink up. Oh, I can drink more than you. And whatever. It was just stupid stuff. Okay, so those are my friends. When I got saved, I left that group because I wanted to find a church. I went to a different church every week until the word spoke to me and I could hear the gospel. And then I started hanging out with those friends. And wasn't it hard to witness to the old drinking buddies? That was my kryptonite, right? So I mean, I did really well hanging with the Christians and waxing eloquent and all that kind of stuff. And then when it comes down to trying to reach out to my drinking buddies, like a lot of anxiety, a lot of nerves. You know, that was a hard audience to try and witness to. So I think that's peer pressure.
Yeah. Just
The old drinking buddies were the
Because
ones
you used
that
to fit in with them. Like, you used to run with them.
Yeah, they liked me then.
Yeah.
you don't want to lose that and like not have them like you now.
Well, it's tough, too, because they've seen a different side of you.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too.
And now
yeah.
you want to, like, convince them that you're different. and
Yeah.
that
You're like, no, that was you like a couple
oh,
months
yeah.
ago. Oh, you're different now? Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that was tough. Well, that was like what, 30 some years ago now. So
I
it's
feel
not
like you
as-
have a bit of a better argument
not as-
now than you did then.
Yeah, not as big of a deal anymore. But boy, that was a challenge for me.
Learn
I
to
can
use it.
imagine, yeah. I will say it doesn't have much to do with what we were talking about just now, but something I was hearing earlier, one of you guys was mentioning that Jesus says that we are free now.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. I was, for a while, kind of struggling with what that even meant.
Okay,
Because like,
excellent.
from what I had initially heard and thought, I'm like, well, okay, how am I freer if I'm restricting everything that I'm doing and have to like run it through stuff? But
Exactly.
then
How you freer by
it's-
restricting yourself?
Yeah,
That's a
but
question.
then it's a thing where, like, if I can be frank for a moment, I've struggled with a few different kinds of addiction over my life already, and I've noticed that what you need to do is completely flip that phrase on its head. And it's not that we get freedom by restricting us. Jesus gives us freedom in that we don't need to sin in order to experience joy like we did before and enjoy God. Like when I accept Jesus, am free from needing these sinful, horrible addictions to actually find joy and happiness in life. I find God, and in that I find my peace.
Well, the context of the teaching of the Bible on freedom, it involves things like, can you eat meat sacrificed to an idol? You might, your brother might see you do that, and him being weaker in conscience than you cause him to stumble. He violates his conscience because of your example. So I would rather just give up my freedom to eat meat rather than destroy a brother. And
that's just an example. You don't have to stop giving up
yeah.
meat, but
correct.
No.
Specifically means
in Galatians,
sacrifice
I believe it's
Yeah, exactly.
I believe it's 5:13. Galatians 5:13. It says, "You're free. Don't turn yourself over to a yoke of slavery, and instead of taking advantage of your freedom, serve one another in love. You're free to do different things. I mean, our sins are washed away when we come to Jesus, and then we might be free to drink that beer once in a while. And I don't have a problem with the Christian that does responsibly drink. But I would gladly give it up if it helps serve the cause. Because I'm free. So a free person, a person that's under bondage is bound to do a thing a certain way for peer pressure's sake or whatever, or whatever. Person that's free, that's no longer a wrong choice. The better way to look at it is, I want to make the best choices I can make in my life to be a better friend to Jesus. He reached out to me when I was unlovely. He extended friendship to me, and he saved me by his grace. So it would be kind of a jerk of me to say, woohoo, I can just do whatever I want now. Rather than, don't use your freedom as a covering for sin, but through love serve one another. I think that's the verse in Galatians 5.
That sounds right.
Rather serve one another humbly in love. Yeah.
You know, I something popped in my brain when you were saying that, and you know, I wonder if, like, you know, there's certain people in this world that try to peer pressure God into getting what they want from God, and it doesn't.
Peer pressure him.
I know. I mean, you know,
Well,
like,
I
you know,
kinda
ask and you
understand
shall
what you're saying,
receive, and you know, all that kind of different kind of stuff, and you know, there's
It's
a
the thing where you almost try to use the Bible against him. You know?
Right, yeah, so-
I'm thinking, yeah.
You know, I was just going to say that you have to be careful not to use peer pressure against God. Just because he says to ask and you shall receive and stuff, doesn't mean you're going to get it, or doesn't mean that your life is going to be complete.
I don't think that is peer pressure
Yeah, I was
at all.
gonna say, I'd be.
I'm
I
not
think
his
it's-
peer at all.
I was gonna say, I'd be very
Yeah,
careful
but-
describing
that's a
God
good
as a
point.
peer.
Yeah, it's not a peer,
There's
but
nothing.
you kind of
about
get where
me.
I'm going, though. Because there's people that will say, God, give me $1 million because...
Well, honestly, I think where is it in the Bible where he says that he will give us anything we desire if it lines up with his will or something
Yeah.
like that? Like,
Where
what is
if-
that verse?
If you are in tune with God's will in your life,
It
you're
will
going to
happen.
get the things you want.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be what God wants you to have.
The
I like
text
that
says,
one.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
desires will be aligned with
the
what God
text
wants.
says
Yes.
that
So it's gonna happen.
you
Yes.
ask
Interesting.
believing that you received it, and you will have it. Believe it that you are that.
Believe I have the Ferrari.
Yes.
But
And that's a slippery slope.
but
Yeah,
Of course, you
going,
can't really believe that.
But-
It's
No,
impossible
yeah.
to believe something that's impossible.
but it doesn't matter. If you pray for the $1 million and you don't get it, it doesn't. The end of the fact is, if you are a child of God, God will never leave you, nor will He forsake you. He will always provide.
And he's
And-
worth more than $1 million.
Oh,
Exactly.
I would say so, yeah.
There's been
So in a
several-
sense, you'll get the $1 million, but
there
not
has
in
been
dollar form.
Several
It'll be pesos.
times in my
It'll
own-
be in Bitcoin.
What?
Yeah.
I
Or
mean,
yen.
yeah, my stocks better appreciate. I'm just saying.
But that value that you
Green
the value that you want from the $1 million,
But-
it'll come in another way.
There has been times in my life, like several times, where I just feel like I can't get ahead, but not once of those times have I ever had to worry, because somehow, some way, I know God will provide, and He has. I have never.
You can
Like-
trust him. Exactly.
Exactly. And this is where I feel like my faith is at its strongest point. Going like there's just a time in the very recent past where just I felt like trial after trial after trial after trial was just hitting me. I had no break from trials, and just every single time I remember, like even back when I was in a bad car accident, I was in a wheelchair for 2 months. Not once throughout that entire time in that wheelchair or in my life have I ever basically forsaken the Lord because of what has happened to me.
Wow.
Because I know because I believe that not everything, I mean, just through that all those situations, I just, it could be worse. God has not abandoned me yet. It's
He never will either.
and that He never will abandon me.
That's tough for something that somebody can go. It's hard to keep holding on. You know the story of Job?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Joe
the same.
is a prime example.
All the shit gets thrown at you in life. Everything gets taken away.
Yeah.
Some people just give in to all that pressure. Maybe not people, but the pressure of losing everything. But you didn't. You kept God held on to you.
Well, I mean, if you
remember
remember
for a reason.
if you remember that story, though, I mean, Job's peers told him to curse God and die. And
Yeah.
eventually,
So,
Job.
Job. Wife.
When did
Well,
you,
eventually,
so how
his
did you
wife
say
and also his
this is a real nasty spot you're in.
But what ended up
That's so
happening was
unconfessed sin.
Job essentially accused God and said, God, you look at my life and like I've served you my whole life and I'm innocent. And then basically what he's admitting without actually saying it is that God, you're guilty. Like if we're on trial, the two of us are on trial, I'm innocent. And
Then God showed up.
And then God says, okay,
God's like,
well, where were you when
Really?
I laid the foundations of the world?
God shows up and has so many sources. He spends the last half of the book talking.
So, I mean,
I'd say
Job-
he had his bases covered.
But
there.
I'll say Job is a wonderful example. I mean, it's very illustrative of peer pressure.
And
Job is my favorite.
And during
story.
those
Well, yeah,
during
it's
those moments in my
surprisingly
life,
relatable.
I honestly I look at Job, and I know the story of Job, and that's why I never said, what like I don't even like to say even questioned God, because I just knew He was still with me as a believer, and then out of even if it's at the very last moment, somehow I either got the money to get my car fixed, or I got the money to pay rent, or I got the strength to work a double shift to get to have the means. I might have not had as much as I wanted. I might have still been falling behind, but I had a pressure relieved off of me.
Right. I wanted to, the reason why I was doing this was because I wanted to transition to something else in this, and you have no idea where this is going, but
okay.
I saw something,
go.
yeah, I know,
Go.
you're like, oh my gosh, right?
Buckle your seatbelts.
Yeah, so,
You got told.
I have seen, so many people, like, I don't want to call them false prophets or false teachers, or maybe they're deceived or whatever, but I'll see these people say, claim this in God's name and it's coming to you, and then all of a sudden you'll see all these people come down.
And those preachers.
Yeah, and then you'll see all these people will say certain stuff online and say, I want to get my $1 million, I want to get my $1,000, I want to do this, I want to do that. And that's not how it works.
So then what does the Bible say?
The Bible doesn't say that God's going to... So I wanted to make a point of this, is if you're watching and you're listening to somebody who's claiming that you're going to get $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is, they're probably not telling you the truth. Because
that preacher will certainly get $5,000 or $10,000 from you, but you sure won't.
So be careful who you're listening to, because that preacher or that person's pressuring you and putting he's not your peer, he's kind of wolf in sheep's clothing, kind of, I would say.
Yes.
I want to say that carefully. So I wanted to, that's where I was kind of wanting to go with that. But exactly, I agree with you 1,000%.
There's only 100% in a person.
Yeah, it's like you agree with them 10 times.
You know, I wanted to make a point, so I was kind of doing the 1,000 instead of 100, because 1,000 sounds better than 100. Maybe it's 10,000. Maybe I was wrong.
You spend about
Carry the
26
1,000,
hours a
add the
day.
war winds.
What?
What? Exaggerating, man.
Man. You're exaggerating, man. Come on. Man.
Is that still cool?
What, to say man?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
in this
100%. Are
moment.
you kidding?
It is. Oh, okay.
1,000%, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We've transferred over from man to bruh.
Oh yeah.
No, bro's not cool anymore. You're more sophisticated if you say man at the end of stuff.
Oh, okay, man.
Just so you know.
All right.
See? Doesn't that
Chad,
feel
is that
better than saying bro?
Oh, okay, bro.
You know? It just feels
I have to use the bathroom. Give me
I
like
think I
5
like
minutes.
bruh.
I'm stepping out of the room. I am
I
no
think-
longer a person in the room in this
Respectfully,
moment.
I think you're dead wrong.
See you in a
but,
minute.
like, we can agree to disagree. Okay. What else do we have?
So does that answer the question, what is a peer?
That all goes back to what is a peer.
What is a peer off there? But again, that's the entire point of the podcast, you know? We take as long as we need to discuss the topics because we're passionate about the stuff.
Yeah.
you know what
Well,
I'm
what's
saying?
next on the docket for today?
What's next on the docket? Trent goes to the bathroom.
So how
What's
can we-
after that?
How can we combat
well, there
it?
you go.
Before we do...
We're gonna edit this part out probably.
Nah,
How do you
it's fine.
combat peer pressure?
How do you combat
Oh,
peer
no,
pressure?
honestly, the next one was where does peer pressure come from? But did we cover that kind of in this? I'm trying to think.
I think it's internal. I think it's...
Well, it's not internal. Somewhat it is.
Well,
It can be external, but I think, like...
Well, he means like the struggle is inside. He's saying that it's not us like actively.
It's
I
an
would say, like-
external... It's an external...
Sean was saying
thing.
something Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, it's fine. It's an external, like a trigger that
triggers an internal.
Because of an
triggers an
internal
internal
reaction.
reaction.
Yeah. Okay. I get
Sean,
that.
Sean was saying something about how his relationship with God gives him a sense that God's got his back through trials, right? So there's something that's real inside of Sean's life that would help if there's peer pressure pulling him the wrong way. The relationship with God that we can have is a constant thing. You're talking to him every day, you're listening to him every day, and this peer pressure comes. So I think some of the trigger, or some of the external trigger that triggers something inside, is a fuzziness, a lack of clarity in our walk with the Lord. There's a doubt, or there's something that we're withholding.
I made my triumphal return.
Pastor
So I
John's
think-
cooking, man. Shush.
Yeah, that's all important.
Let him cook.
So
Let him cook.
I mean, Ian is
Let Sean cook.
is
Oh.
right. There's an external trigger that triggers something, a weakness, you could say, inside of us. And I think a relationship with the Lord that is strong and maintained helps us use our better thinking and better judgment when the crowd wants to go a certain way, or the Christian crowd wants to go a certain way. Should we go that way? Well,
The other thing,
we gotta-
Pastor John, too, would be if you are pressured and you are affected by the pressure, maybe you're not okay with yourself the way that you are. So maybe there's something also wrong with, oh my gosh, I'm so
Yeah.
nervous about this. Or
Where
You're saying
where
it's
peer
worth a bit of,
pressure
like,
comes
personal
from
introspection too.
Yeah.
is our perception based on our inner life. Like, I care too much what Paul thinks.
Oh gosh.
So I'm going to do exactly what he thinks, what I think he thinks I should do.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny too because like a lot of times that fear and anxiety isn't even based in reality.
No!
No.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I
You
think
just
he
create
want.
that, yeah.
I think he
In your
thinks
own mind.
this, so I got to do this to counteract what I think he thinks.
People will think I'm so cool if I get a tattoo.
Yeah, it's just, have you tried asking them?
And then you get old and wrinkly, and then your tattoo gets more. It's not as cool as it once was. It's a little faded from the weather as well.
The little hula girl on my arm, she kind of like sags.
Sag.
Yeah,
She kinda gets all sad.
I've seen those
Saggy.
saggy with hula girls. I was wondering, would that come out that way?
I've always joked about getting a tattoo of ice cream and watching it melt.
Wow, actually, I like that. Oh, and on that note, we have been at this for an hour and 25 minutes, so Ian's ice cream tattoo is going to be the last thing we hear about before we hit the outro.
Well, I do have.
Shush!
Oh,
Another thing.
already.
Opinions in the box, Sean.
No.
What was it that you were wanting to say?
So-
Maybe it's a deep thought, and I want to hear it.
I have, in my own personal Bible reading, I've been going through 1 Corinthians, and when you look at peer pressure, a lot of things in peer pressure is temptation, and temptation and peer pressure, they're very intertwined. In my study of 1 Corinthians, it was in 1 Corinthians 10, hold on, 10:13.
Mm-hmm.
No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way so you can endure it.
Mm-hmm.
So peer pressure is never going to be something where you have to follow along.
Mm-hmm.
And any type of temptation. This is why it's so hard for believers, because we are tempted all the time. But we just have to remember that we can always we are never going to be forced to sin by temptation or by peer pressure.
We also have the ability to say no and no thanks.
Exactly.
Yes.
Make purposeful choices to honor the Lord.
Based on
The Bible.
the Word of God.
The Word of God.
Make choices that honor God based on God.
1 Corinthians 10:31. Whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the glory of God.
Bang.
Right. This has nothing to do with the outro, but
Cash
that's fine.
money.
No, I'm sorry. No, that came out wrong. I mean, I
nothing
like
to
the
do with
thought.
the
No, I
outro.
like the thought. I'm saying that my outro is it was off. I was on a completely different path.
Well, that's your job when you go
What?
to editing.
Yeah.
That's like a you problem.
We
I
made
think that's
our
a pretty good.
outro.
I think
Let's
that's a
hear
pretty
your
good outro right there, though.
I thought that was a
I was-
perfect outro.
yeah,
I'll
over
just
there.
go through the spiel then.
that
I'll
outro was
edit it out. Okay. All right, so what Sean said is a good spot to end for tonight. Thanks everyone for checking out yet another episode of People in the Room. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to leave a comment or shoot an email to the address editing me we'll put on the screen. If you're on Spotify, don't worry, I also put the address in the description for you. Thanks again, and God bless.
What about
See you
Rumble?
next time.
We're also on Rumble.
Yeah, what about Rumble?
I mean, you know.
Poor
Are you
Rumble.
leaving the Rumble viewers out?
I never said YouTube either.
Didn't you?
Poor YouTube.
Oh man.
How many other people are you excluding?
Well, you
I'm leaving this.
Well, the
in.
comments
man.
though. The comments though are.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna get a
You can
lot of
leave
hate
it on
mail
YouTube.
this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's because there's no video with Spotify. It's
Yeah,
just
that
audio.
was why.
Is it really? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, you can have video on
You can
Spotify.
put video
What if I put it in there
podcasts on
anyway?
Spotify, but I'm just doing audio for it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Trent, if you'd like to do that, you can by all means just take the recording.
Oh no, I'm not doing
Set
that.
yourself.
No,
Yeah,
dude. Why would I do that?
Yeah, shut.
I'm not
Thanks
paid
again.
enough to do that.
See you next time.
Peace.